We're talking about you leaving school to go and do music. You dropped out of uni. maybe leaving school sounds cute, but you dropped out of uni literally. And what are you studying then?
Computer science.
God, I beg. Who allowed you to do that one in Nigeria?
Life allowed me, not my parents. That's why I said, my brother, when you are working towards your goals, life starts opening up to you. Things you should not get away with it. And that's the authority, or that's the proof that you're doing the right thing. I went from being in an industry where it was like, you have to put yourself in the limelight and, carry a certain image, like which was music.
Yeah.
Because of this dream, because I saw that it wasn't leading me closer to the Yotay dream as I thought. By the way, Yotay is an acronym for Years of the African Youth. I decided that, okay, I need to try something else. And I went from being a musician, trying to like climb on stage, perform and all that, to getting into network marketing. And with network marketing, you have to like just put yourself out there, prospect. So it's called prospecting, find people to tell you about the business. I know there are times when I have to physically prospect, meaning I just go outside of my house, maybe my estate, and just talk to people. Oh, there's this business I'm doing. I would like you to join, be my downline and stuff. It was the same guy that was climbing stages that went to, I'll call it like going to the ground, and I had to be, on the streets, just like moving around. Oh, can you? Sometimes I'll be walking towards someone and they'll see me and they'll cross the other side of the road.
The following conversation is with Donald Yotay, an historian and community leader. In this conversation, we x-ray growing up, catching the vision very young, the years of the African youth, and the process of documenting the present-day history of the African child, of the African youth. And I'm hoping that this session will either inspire, transform, or educate you. Thank you. I've been thinking much about the story that has been rewritten, like when it comes to our history and a whole lot of that. We have a lot of things that have not been archived properly, right? I was at the gym the other day and someone was telling me about them passing through Asaba and doing something, and I've never heard about that, before. It's not something that is public knowledge. Most of these things were eroded, from our secondary schools at the time. And Socrates has this saying that, no one is wrong on purpose. Right? And I thought about it. I'm like, if they removed history, they thought they were doing something right. Even though you or myself could say, oh, this is wrong. Why are they doing this? They don't want us to know about, our ancestors and all of those things. But now you are now coming and you are building things that, wants to preserve our heritage. Where is that from?
Well, I think we have to start from when I was younger.
Oh, okay.
And it's something I was thinking about recently. I think the way we grow up and the things we experience are all connected, like they mean something for our story. Growing up, I grew up in the middle class, like home and stuff, and parents were doing okay. I mean, we're not poor, so that's better than a lot of people, But I just felt like there was more out there. I felt like the people that were, well, not to use success as a metric, but people that were billionaires, or people like the Wizkids, the Davidos, the Tunde Onakoyas, like all these people, like they are just like me. They have the same five senses and abilities like me. And why can't we aspire to be that? So I just always knew that you have to do something different, do something extra to be able to, make something out of yourself or out of your story. So I started like learning on the different ways I can be successful, whether it was finances or just what fulfillment and success look like, because I didn't really have that much examples in my surrounding growing up that served as signifiers of that. Not saying my parents were not successful. Of course, they had good jobs, they raised good families, but just knowing that life can be so much more than just paying bills. So that was like kind of the idea that irregardless of where you come from, you can be something. And I realized that there were not a lot of stories of people that look like me and you that had done great things. But I know like in my bones that there are obviously people that have done great things, but where did all their stories go to? So that's like the burning question that has been on my mind for the longest time. Like, where do all these stories go to? And it's fine if people didn't try and be intentional about capturing those stories before. At least I'm alive now. I'm in this generation, so I want to make sure that we start documenting stories now, so that when other people that look like me and you, that come from where we come from Africa, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Kenya, want to build, they're able to have those stories to fall back on. Yeah.
I mean, what's unhinged about African history that has been deleted from our archives? As a historian, I believe that you've pondered on this, you've worked on this for many, 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 many years. You know, you've been going on this for over a decade now. What are those stories that you're just like, how did this get lost in transit?
Well, I think for me, history for me is the boring things. History for me is like the regular, like the mundane, like the day to day, and kind of what we're trying to do with the work we're doing at my company, Yotay World. We're really just trying to capture the everyday lives and lifestyles of people. Do you ever sit down and think, when you see documentaries or when you see like content or footage from like years past, from maybe like American or British or like Asian parts of the world, and you just see people walking on the street randomly? It's because some smart people thought that, oh wow, this thing will mean something later. Let's just randomly go outside, go to Ikeja on that bridge, or go to Mushin, or go to Ikorodu, or you come to Lekki or somewhere of here and just picture, like, just capture the day to day and stuff. So I think one of the biggest things that is missing from African history, as much as all the royalty stuff and da is glamorized, but the everyday things are lost. And that's kind of what, we are trying to capture, those everyday moments, because that's what makes up history. So for instance, let's say there was a flood in maybe Lekki or something. The headlines would read like more of the macro news, like, oh, flood in Lekki, but the people that were affected, maybe the rich man and the poor man that lives in that area, like those individual lived experiences. That's kind of what I'm trying to capture and what we're trying to capture, with this work that I feel called to do. Yeah.
I mean, how has that been going so far? And I'm asking this because even with shooting the pod, archiving journeys across the world, there's sort of this challenge with preserving authenticity and people wanting to be comfortable in what actually their story is. It's more like, I would wish my story was maybe more glamorous, or I would wish that, oh, I had this very terrible story so I can share, and the whole world will be like, wow, this is how the story is, and people not really wanting to review those mundane things like, oh, I've just been journaling, I've just been this, and those things, they see the value and they see the impact in the lives that they are living. So have you had that struggle where, because I've had the struggle, and I just think like, why can't you just be yourself? You can most likely even say this like off camera maybe, but when it comes to archiving, there's a lot of intentionality to that. There's definitely some misconception about history in Africa. Like we're talking about earlier, when you talked about, royalty, the glamorous macro captions and all of that, right? And the minute intentional details are left out. What's the bearing for that? Why is the misconception so great? Especially with, all the rest of the world and how Africa is portrayed. Is it that our history is not documented by us? Is it that a lot of people have not taken up the responsibility to be intentional about this? What is really missing?
Okay, thank you. That's such a good question. I think I'll start my answer like this. Value. When someone or a group of people don't see something as valuable, they will not put energy, time, creativity, and themselves into like bringing that fruit forth. So I think a lot of people don't see the value of documenting their history, because it's like, oh, it's happening right now, so why should I? Like, it's my life. Do you understand? But I kind of think, and this is a powerful thing I'll say, I kind of think for the future, in sense of like, the future Jeds or Donalds or the future young black boys and girls that grow up where we grew up from. Like it's important for them. It might not be important for us right now, but it's important for them. So I think when we're able to reframe people's mind that this thing is going to affect your kids.
It's not about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to affect your kids, it's going to affect your grandkids. Like, do you want there to be a 20-something-year-old Donald or 20-something-year-old Jet, and when you're trying to build, they still need to look at Asian or European or American icons? No, like let them be able to open up the history books and see people like us and see like, well done to the guys like the Pace Likes, the Flutter Waves. Like let them be able to see those type of stories. So as I said, back to how I started, value, because they don't see it as valuable, then nobody really, cares about doing as much. And I'll just add this, to the side. I see that a lot of people that talk about history in Africa is things that have passed. What about things that are happening right now? Who is actually doing the work to capture things that are happening right now? Like, and when I say right now, I mean the mundane, the everyday lives and lifestyle, not just.
So there is a gap.
Culture. Yes. And people that are doing the work, you see them reporting on, whiskey this, Burna Boy that, the entertainment industry, but the everyday things, who is really doing that? It's a whole thing, but yeah, that's it. I think it's value for me. We need to reframe how valuable it is. Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious. It seems like there is now a 1% syndrome where we're also concerned about what is happening in the 1%, and we kind of invalidate what is happening with 99%. Because when you talk about it like that, I think back and I'm like, when our kids come, when our grandkids come, and they are checking, and they are seeing only like the 1%, the 1%, the 1%.
You would have failed though. Damn, you would have failed. Excuse my language.
Yeah, it's fine. So I mean, I'm not like, what would they really learn? If they can't have a consensus, from the 99 with a moral compass and be like, oh, okay, this was the trajectory of their morality, or this was what their tastes was like as a people, right? And which I think it's one that we should not throw under the rug.
Yeah.
To think history was removed from our childhood, we don't know it that much. All right. Growing up, I remember when they talked about history being removed from our educational systems, and that they weren't going to teach it anymore. And I go back to wonder as to what the cause and the effect has done to our minds. Not studying history in school, does that have any way, is that in any way something that has invalidated the cherishing of history to us as a generation?
I think that's this question is very interesting. This train of thought is interesting because it's not even really something we can contend with, because before we were born, like, as you said, like this already happened, like decisions were made for us, that affected how we even experience the world and how we like relate to the past, our ancestors. So honestly, that's why I said, like, I don't really, it's fine all the people trying to dig up things from the past, but we really have to start the work now and just like do what we need to do, so that, it can get better. And there's something I always tell my team, that the work we're doing right now might not make sense in 1 year, in 2 years, in 5 years, but like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it starts making sense. Because when you look at, you have documented something over the span of 20 years, then it starts making sense because it's happening right now. Because it's contemporary history, not like times past, then it's very hard to really see the value. But my brother, I think about a time where the books that are written with proper context. The stories that are told with proper context. And, as I said, the value of this idea, of this movement, of this, whatever you want to call it, of youth, the years of the African youth, grows exponentially over the years and over the decades. It might not make sense initially. And it's very hard to think like that because as humans, especially as adults, we're just focused on, how do I pay my bills? How do I eat? How do I make sure I don't drink Gary for 3 months? Do you get? So it's very hard to think of things like bigger than you. And this is a conversation for another day, another time, another season. But honestly, it has to be God that can give you this type of idea that transcends you and transcends your lifetime.
So you've been at it again and again and again and again. Yotay. The first time I saw you, I thought your son name was Yotay. All right. I mean, before all of this, man, like, who would you say you are? Like,
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay. At my core, I realized I was something called an autodidact. Well, I think it's like a Greek or Latin word. I mean, you can Google it or whatever, but I think auto means self, like so automatic, or like auto means self, and then didact means like to learn or learning. So I think at my core, I'm something called an autodidact because I was reading something and I started, I was like, oh, I went to go and research about it. And so an autodidact is basically someone who learns things by not just what it was told, but has to go and find the truth, And when I was young, I did something interesting. I decided that all the things that I'd been told was true or was like proper or was like moral or good. I had to find out for myself. So whether it
example.
was money, whether it was success, whether it was what fulfillment looked like, whether it was what a good life, I had to find it by myself. So for a very long time, I've been on this never-ending search of finding the truth and finding my own truth. Because my brother, if someone tells you that to go from this point to this point, you can use a car, it's true. If they say you can use a plane, it's true. If they say you can walk or use a ship, it's true. You have to find the truth that works for you. And I think a lot of times we kind of shut off our brains to just accept the truths that we're told. But everybody has different truths that work for them. Do you understand? Some people can use fashion to make $1 billion. Some people can use tech. Some people can use oil and gas. You have to find your own truths. And it's harder to do that because you can just follow the herd. But people that do find their own truths, then we call them the outliers, the geniuses, the successes and stuff. So for me, at my core, I'm an autodidact. I'm someone that just likes to learn and discover things by himself. And it was a conscious decision I made when I was younger in my teenage years to just learn the things that are true to me. But because I did that, or because I live my life this way, I run into problems with maybe parents or authority or, oh, Donald, no, you must. But I'm like, no, that's not my truth. So at my core, I'm an autodidact. I just like to learn things by myself, understand my own truths.
I mean, over the years, how would you say your truth has gained expression? What's your truth to you?
It just took me back in time.
How far back in time?
So my teenage years really so interesting. You said that when you met me, you thought my name was Yotay. I will say this on camera, and I'll say this off camera too as well. I feel like everybody has two lives in their lifetime. The life you are born with and the life you choose to build. For the first
Cold.
no facts, my brother. For the first 15, 16 years of my life, I was Donald Oga. That's my government name, Donald Oga. But I think when I turned 16 and moving forward, and that was when I got the idea for Yotay or the vision for Yotay, I became Donald Yotay.
At 16.
Yeah.
Amateur.
Yeah. Now that you say it now, that was such a young age to decide to do something so powerful. But it was just God, as I would say. I have to give all glory to Him.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I just decided to be that person, and I feel like a lot of people don't get to live their second life, which is painful. Because you are born into this world that the rules are already set for you. This one is set for you. You're told to do this, do that, but you have to say, okay, this is the life I want to create. See, my brother, the people we celebrate, the people we clap for, there are people that decided to actually create their life and become or grow into their own identities. You can't just accept. Because life would just leave you down. Life will leave you. You have to decide to okay, I want to be this person and I'll work towards it. So yeah, I don't know if that was answered your question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about it when you talk about second life, right? And why a lot of people don't want to live their second life. Where do you think maybe it's an environment thing, it's a consciousness thing?
It's just easier, my brother. It's just easier. I don't know, it's easier. It's easier to take the road that everybody's taking. It's harder to take the road less traveled. It's easier, that's just it. It's easier. So if they tell you the formula is do this, do that, and die, it's easier. So see how much stress that I've had to go through, other people might have had to go through because they decided that I'm going to take the road less traveled though. So it's easier to be in the general public or the general idea. It's harder to decide to carve out your own niche or your own identity.
How is the road less traveled?
It's interesting because you're alive. You're not just living in the sense of when you're working towards the things you care about or the things you're passionate about or your destiny, you're actually alive. You're not just living. So the road less traveled lets you know that you are alive, even when things are bad, even when your reality is saying something else from what you see in your mind. You know, at least you are trying. Like I don't want to go to sleep at night and I know that like, oh, I didn't do anything towards my goals or my dreams. You know, that's I don't know how other people live like that, but I can't.
I mean, I've not stopped thinking about when you talked about, people living only one life, right? And I see this every day. I have people come to speak to me, be it at the office, or be it in other sphere of light, and just like, oh, Jed, I'm tired, I'm frustrated, or I wish the day could just end, those kind of things. And I've seen that at the core, a lot of it, I see a lot of fear, a lot of, like you said, how do I leave this comfort zone and people do not judge me, right? How do I leave this and people would not think that, but on this road that is less traveled, the first thing that you are going to do, and I had this conversation with one of my friends. He's come on the pod. I call him Jeff Bezos, and he said the naysayers, that is their work. Like people that would always come and say, "Oh, why did you do this? You should have done this." That is it. Leave them to do their work and do your own work. It's important that we adventure into the road less traveled in our lifetime, and that at the end of the day we die empty. I think about this all the time. I'm like, man, I can't die full. I want that when it's end of life,
Giving everything.
I've given everything. Miles Monroe says something on blessed memory that the richest place is the graveyard. And that's why, because a lot of people died with a lot of potentials, a lot of giftings that they did not. I don't want when the master comes is now saying, Jed, we gave you 2 talents, but you buried the 2 talents. Hey, that's a lot of pain. We're going to account. We are going to give account for a lot of these things that we do.
Sorry, interestingly enough, when we're speaking about the concept of second life, I just not realized, but I remembered something that comes to mind from time to time. I think that this word of shame is a very interesting word because a lot of people carry it around so much that they're afraid to be shameless. And I feel like if you want to achieve anything great, you have to be shameless. Honestly, my brother, if you're a salesman and you're trying to sell something, you have to be able to go to anybody and say, oh, this is what I'm doing, and just like push. And when you listen to other people that have made it, that idea of, oh, okay, maybe because I come from this type of family background or because I've done this one, you have to remove that shame, tear that shame for your flesh like a thorn, and, just be able to go at it. So I think one thing that stops people from actually like creating their identity, actually like stepping into their second life, not just what life gave them, but creating their life, is that idea of shame. I'm a very shameless person for the dreams I chase. Maybe not for other things, but for the dreams I chase, And I guess we might still talk about this. I went from, being in an industry where it was like, what's it called now? You have to put yourself in the limelight and, carry a certain image, like which was music.
Yeah, funny enough, we are getting there, but please, go on.
And then because of this dream, because I saw that it wasn't leading me closer to the Yotay dream as I thought. By the way, Yotay is an acronym for Years of the African Youth. I decided that, okay, I need to try something else. And I went from being a musician, trying to like, have this image, climb on stage, perform and all that, to getting into network marketing. And with network marketing, you have to like just put yourself out there, prospect. So it's called prospecting. Find people to tell about the business. I know there are times when I have to physically prospect, meaning I just go outside of my house, maybe my estate, or I go somewhere, even leave my estate environment and just talk to people. Oh, there's this business I'm doing. I'd like you to join, be my downline and stuff. It was the same guy that was climbing stages that went to, I'll call it like going to the ground, and I had to be, on the streets, just like moving around. Oh, can you? Sometimes I'll be walking towards someone and they'll see me and they'll cross the other side road like, who is this guy that looks fresh? Because of course, I would always look fresh, like, do you understand? Wear nice clothes, whether it's like casual or native or, and I'd put myself through all that because I didn't have shame for the dreams I'm chasing. And whatever I need to be, I'll keep doing it regardless of, oh, Donald is a musician. Donald is an historian, Donald is this, Donald is that. I am my dream, and I have to be that dream. And you just have to have that mindset. If you want to achieve anything great, you have to be shameless. Not don't let nobody tell you that, oh, well, you can't do this now. Don't you know who your dad is, or don't you know where you come? No, you have to.
I mean, relating with receiving that kind of mandate at 16, how did you enjoy classes with your peers? And I'm curious about this because I grew up in an environment where in primary one, the people that were my best buddies were in primary six.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I grew up in an environment where I couldn't always really relate with the people. I mean, there are a lot of caveats to, like, even when we were in class, most of the time I was top in the class. And this was when we were in primary. This was when we were in primary school, but nonetheless, I couldn't relate with the people of that class. And I've seen this like across board. It's just more from a place of I was just much more self-aware. Even in my ignorance at the time, or my supposed ignorance, I was not just as ignorant as everyone in that. I was as ignorant as people in primary six instead of primary one. So I'm just curious, like, when you receive that kind of mandate, what kind of life do you now live as a 16-year-old, right?
Okay, thank you for the question. First of all, I would say that I didn't even know it was that serious, my brother. It was just an idea. You know, the way an idea just comes and takes on a life of its own. When that idea came, it was just this random thing I had written down in a book. So funny enough, let me give you the backstory. The initial idea was years of the African teenagers. But I mean, quickly I was like, I won't be a teenager forever. And youth is a word you can use to just represent being young and being like, you know, just basically more
alive.
Yeah. So I knew that, okay, it's not like people in their 20s or teens, like it just means youthful mindset. So I guess a couple days or weeks I changed to years of the African youth, so that's where it came from. So as I said, it was just an idea I got. The way you get an idea and you write it down in your book or your journal, I didn't even know it was that serious, but I realized that the forces of life just kept pulling me back to that idea and I could not escape it. I know I'm lucky on different layers because not a lot of people know why they were created, number one. And for people to even know why they were created, you hear a lot of stories that, oh, I'd achieved everything in the world and then I needed to like maybe travel around the world and go to India and go here, or maybe I needed to climb a mountain, got to the top of the mountain, then God spoke to me and stuff. But I just got on randomly. I did not ask for it, I did not beg for it, I did not pray for it, I did not search for it, it just came. So I know I'm lucky. Let me say that because I see a lot of people that, oh, Donald, you do this, you do that, like, how did you? I'm like, I did not ask, so it just came to me. But I feel like the same way it came to me, the same way it comes to a lot of people, but then they just shrug it off.
They reject it.
Do you get
They are not sensitive enough to sense it when it comes.
Yeah, and when it keeps coming back to them, because these things are important, it won't just come to you once. When it keeps coming back to you, keep pushing it, and once you keep pushing it, then it dies off. Do you get? So to answer your question, initially when the idea came, I thought it was just an idea, but I realized that it just kept like controlling my actions. And now let me tell you something very powerful. When I started making decisions towards my dreams, towards my goals, life was allowing me to get away with it. And don't try this at home, kids, but really, life was allowing me to get away with it. So for instance, when I was, and the story is long, but like,
I mean, I want us to circle back to, I was reading some documentations and news, and you were talking about you leaving school to go and do music, right? Like you dropped out of uni. maybe leaving school sounds cute, but you dropped out of uni literally. And what are you studying then?
Computer science.
God, I beg. You dropped out and you said, oh, now I'm going to go and
chase these dreams, like I say, chase these dreams.
Exactly. Like, who allowed you to do that one in Nigeria?
Life allowed me, not my parents. That's why I said, my brother, when you are working towards your goals, life starts opening up to you. Things you should not get away with it. And that's the authority, or that's the proof that you're doing the right thing. There's something Miles Monroe said once that it keeps chasing me since he said it. Like, you have to be able to do the right things, not just good things. You know, and I won't really get into that, but if you get, you get. Like, I was doing the right thing, so I was able to get away with things. So let me give you an example. Let me give you the context of why I left.
Yeah.
I was in 300 level in my first semester studying computer science in Unilag. And one day, I just, you know, thought like everybody that's in this school or like in my set or whatever, they are building towards the future they want. The future I want is tied to youth. Why not just build towards that? I will never get back those teenage years or those, you know, early 20s or just anything. You never get back your time. So you have to use it wisely. It's finite. So I was like, simply, let me focus on what I feel like my life is about. Why other people are chasing this?
A eureka moment dropped.
Yeah.
And you were like, man.
Exactly. Because I was like, I know I don't want to be a computer scientist. So
Facts.
what is happening?
Facts.
And as I said, I was lucky enough to know why, you know, like, well, I won't say I knew why I was created then, but like, it was just this cool idea. I was like, okay, let me work towards it. So
you knew it kept drawing you.
Exactly.
The pull was just so strong you had to drop out.
Exactly. So now let me tell you what I did. So at the time, one thing I had in my hands was music. You know, I'm a good like songwriter, storyteller, however you want to put it, you know. That might be debated, but I feel like I was. And
I mean we've heard your music. Awesome.
Thank you. Other people can attest to that.
Yeah.
So what I had at the time was music. So
are you making your hair then or something?
That was like years later.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. So what I had in my hands was music. So my idea was that okay, I would use this platform of being a musician, a celebrity, or an A-lister to talk about the message, like use my voice to spread the Yotay mission. So I made an EP called Broke Youth Rich Thoughts. And that was almost like the idea that was
Broke Youth Rich Thoughts. Wow.
Meaning like you don't have a lot of things, but you have rich thoughts. Your ideas and the things you have in your mind, you know, can actually create more riches or a richer experience or reality for you. So that was the idea. So I sold my laptop, and of course I'm doing computer science. I need the laptop, but I sold it to pay for the EP. You know, I recorded everything.
Wow. How much did you sell it?
I can't remember. I don't think it was up to 100K.
Wow. Well, I mean, then 100K or something close to that had a lot of value.
2018 when I left school.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, you know, I sold it. I paid for the stuff, and then
that's for the session.
For the session. Then I did two other things. I created two other things. The second one was outside of the EP. The second thing, I created the EP. The second one was
what studio did you go to?
It's in First Stack. Okay. I'm really connected to First Stack because a lot of my creative life was in First Stack. Like I would leave Unilag, go down to First Stack and go and record. It was like I was going to an island, even though I'm in First Stack. Is it an island? I don't know. I don't know if it is, but I don't know if it's surrounded by body of water. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, but I just felt like I was going to a different world anytime I was going to the studio, because I was like, yes, you know. So yeah, the second thing I created was a document that just had some things about Yotay. Now the third thing I created was what I was going to tell my parents. I had an idea that I don't need to tell them in my mouth, because they might misconstrue me, or because of emotions and like deficiencies in communication, it might not sit down well with them. Of course it didn't sit down well with them, but I wrote down like a maybe 3 or 4 page document. I typed it on my laptop before I saw the laptop. I typed it out. I printed it out.
Oh,
I have 2 copies. Yeah, I think 1 copy for myself, I think, and then 1 copy for
you still see that copy till today?
Yeah, I still have the copy.
Wow.
It's in my special folder where I have like my passport and like official documents.
Wow.
Yeah, so I typed it out, and then I came back home. So my mom was around at the time. My dad was like out working and stuff. He wasn't in Lagos at the time. And I said, Mommy, like I have something to show you. And they already knew I was doing music, but not doing music to
that extreme.
So I told her that I did not write my exam this semester, so I failed. Like I just failed everything. I don't have a laptop again. I sold it to make music. You know, I mean, I played them play my mom see some of the songs, and then I gave her the document, like, oh yeah, read. You know, of course it wasn't easy for her, you know. But as I said, I was able to get away with it because I was working towards like my destiny. Because my brother, in the real sense of it, they shouldn't have allowed me. I didn't have management, I didn't have representation. It's not like Don Jazzy had said, oh, this guy, I'm going to give you $2 million to nothing. It was just myself and my dream. There was no even like, oh, this big brother Egbon that said, oh, I will manage to just me. And that force, I came with it, and I told my mom.
I mean, I believe they can sense, especially for parents, they can sense when someone is up to some. They know their children,
Yeah.
So they can sense. They be like, we've seen a track record of, him sticking true
And
to
I
what
was
he
a useless
believes.
child. Like I've been like a very serious student, like senior prefect primary school, senior prefect secondary school. Like I've been a responsible person. So it's like, and they thought friends were influencing me. And I would always tell them like it's so funny because all my friends that are making music didn't drop out. They stayed in school and they finished. I was the only one because it was not just for music, it was for the dreams I was chasing. And my time to, chase that. So yeah, I told my mom, she was sad, devastated. Before you know it, I think like a couple days later, my dad came down. Bro, I was so scared because I'm like, it's Popsy now. You can tell Mosey something about your dad. So I mean, it came through. I remember the nights before, man. I was just like, I couldn't really sleep. I was just like, literally in the next room, like in the house, and I was in my own room, and I was just like staring out like the window into the stars, like, man, no more. If we die, we die.
If we die, we die. But most of the people that say if we die, we die, they don't die.
Don't die. Exactly. So the next day, I finally had a conversation with my dad, and he was like, okay. I was like, It's like, yeah, okay. So that's how.
I mean, but I'm curious because you're a twin, right? And what's the pressure? I mean, I'm not a twin, but I just presume that there will just be this complicated thought as to, and this, twin is even studying law, and this one is saying he wants to be a dropout, like two opposite ends of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
And just like, how did even your siblings like cope with that information? Was there that comparison when people go out? Like, what is it like? Because now all your family members are like, this guy, we always knew he would be like this, but we did not know how soon.
Well, I think for a large part, my parents just, made everybody think I was in school.
Oh, really?
I was chasing these dreams. Because what do you want them to say?
That's wild.
Yeah, but a lot of resistance and opposition. I remember a loved one told me that if you were abroad, you can do anything you want to do, but because you're in Nigeria, you can't. And that always stuck to me. Like, why do you think that you can't chase your dreams or do both things coming from where we come from? And, it wasn't a push, but it was just a reminder that you do need to, like, actually, show yourself as an example to people so that they can believe. Because if my brother, my friend, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my husband, my wife, my child can do this, it's possible for me. So I didn't let all the resistance, affect me. And as I said, the thing about shame, I didn't have any shame. I don't still have any shame for these dreams. Other things, of course, I would, but for these dreams, you just have to be shameless when you're chasing things and trying to build things.
I mean, I see the present as a gift, right? And I believe that you also see it as that because we've talked about, how we need to prioritize the archiving of the journeys of individuals across boards, right? Which is very, very, very valuable.
Yeah.
I mean, transitioning from music to being, I think at the core, you've always been a historian, right? Just through many expressions, but what you were thinking then and what you were thinking or what you're thinking now, I feel like there's a drift or like there's been a transition rather. And what is that like?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. That's a very beautiful question. Your dreams can grow with you, Jet. A lot of people don't let their dreams live because they say, oh, I had this dream when I was 12, now I'm 15, now I'm 25, now I'm 35, now I'm 50, now I'm 65, now my life is almost over. Your dreams should be able to grow with you. Your dreams die when you don't allow them to grow with you. The idea of the expression of my dream I had was being a musician when I was a teenager. Then it transitioned into like, trying to be an entrepreneur and look for like money and stuff. Transitioned into me trying to earn a living as a tech, but transitioned into me now being a founder of a media company. Your dream should grow with you unless they will die. That's how I answer that question.
Fair enough. The briefness of time, like how do you cope with? I mean, I think people think that, I'm 25 now, 50 is still like a long time ahead, but especially with, and I mean, I see myself as a historian too because
you are,
because of what I'm doing at the moment and what I believe to be my life's work, and I look at it and I'm like, time is very brief. Today you think you're 25, you close your eyes and you open it, you'll be 80. Like, how do you deal with that, especially when you like date back to works that have been there before you, right? And how time has flown to this present dispensation. What does that do with your agility, how you go about these things, how you think about it, how you act, how you evangelize it, to the world?
Okay, I think I would say the way God made life, night and day. So honestly, you need to take it like a day at a time. Let the sun set, let the sun rise. That's how I do with time. Um, yes, we have this whole like idea or this drive as people, as humans to like, oh, a month, New Year's, and trying to plan accordingly. But honestly, you have a day. Everybody has the same 24 hours. So I just take it a day at a time. And it took me a long time to really just be as simple as that with my time. Like, what can I do today? Whatever tomorrow is going to bring, we'll run it. That's just how I deal with time, one day at a time.
I mean, how did you deal with it before?
Beforehand, well, my life has been very easy. And when I say easy, I don't mean like in the plain way of being easy. Like I just always knew what I needed to work on. So I'm just always trying to work on that, like which is Yotay of the African youth. So that's how I deal with it. Whatever time that God has given me in this my lifetime, I just try and like go closer to the goal. And times when I'm not, I'm out of alignment, I can tell. Your spirit will wrestle with you. You can't run away from it. So I don't have any choice but to chase these dreams. I always tell people. My girlfriend asked me one time, she was like, did you ever think about your life if you didn't make the decisions you made? I said, no. She was like, I'm like, yeah, I've never thought of what if I had done.
Did you ever think about it for you?
And that was powerful because it made me realize how like laser focused I am on things I'm trying to do. Because I'm like, why should I think of the alternatives when I'm doing what I need to do?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Why should you be thinking about the alternatives when you are like neck
Doing what I
deep?
need to do.
When you're in the battle,
Yeah.
you're a boxer and you're wrestling,
Exactly.
and you're now wondering, oh, what if I lose this match? Or leave the ring.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, as a historian, what are we missing with the fast scrolls, likes, picture perfect, everything? Has that done something to us?
Yeah, I think that we do a great job we do a great job with documenting like our lives, but the problem with that is that other people's lives matter too. So you yourself or a group of people need to come together and say that, okay, yes, I've posted on my Instagram, on my LinkedIn, I documented this achievement or this, I bought a new car, a new Benz, so I got engaged and stuff, but other people's stories matter too. And it takes like a very empathetic person to want to care about other people's stories because as humans, like we are very focused on ourselves, like, okay, how can I eat? How can I survive? How can I blow? How can I show people I've made it? But you don't need to care about like other people and like what's going on with them. So I think one thing that's missing from like our social media fast scrolling and dopamine and all that is really just caring about the next man, like being your brother's keeper and stuff. Because at the end of the day, if you don't care, then it just keeps being a cycle of things not getting better. I'm the type of person.
And what do you mean getting better?
Yeah, I'm the type of person that I want things to get better, and I don't mean like I'm this idealist or whatever, but you should not be someone that things are going bad and just like, oh, okay. Do you get like just if any little thing I can do to make something better, then I'll try my best to do that. Whether it's with you, whether it's with other people's dreams, or whether it's with anything I see. I can't come to your room and I see that, there are things out of place and it needs to be in place. I'll put that thing in place. That's just what I mean. Like, I just believe that things can get better. You don't need to leave it, in the state you found it. And I don't want to leave the world in the state that I found it or we found it.
I mean, Ryan Holiday said something that got me thinking. He said people have taught history to be trivial questions. Let me give perspective. So if you're watching Who Wants to Be a Millionaire now, and I say, oh, in what year was the amalgamation? And everybody says, oh, 19 this or 19 that, right? And we've reduced history to trivial questions. Over and beyond history, passing on lessons that we should have learned, showing experiences that we should have felt. Right. And I just think about it, and I'm wondering if these are things that you've considered yourself, as bearings while building.
I think for me, the way people approach things is how they see it. I see history as something that our future needs to build better. Recently, I was thinking about the idea of darkness and light in the sense of when your life is not working out, and I don't mean you, Jed, I'm just saying when someone's life is not working out, they're probably in darkness.
Mm.
And I was thinking that for you to make progress or for things to get better, you need light to shine in on you. You know, our kids and grandkids and the future, 100 years, 200, 500 years from now, like when they are building, let them build with lights. Let them not keep being in the dark of, what happened and what didn't happen. Do you understand? So that's just really how I see history, like a tool that we can give the future. Our parents didn't give us that. So at least let's try and give our kids that.
Given that modern culture is not tales by moonlight or going to the library, how do we now encourage, people to adopt history? Because I mean, back in the day, sit down, in the parlor, or in the village setting, at the bonfire, and they will tell you stories, whether the stories were true or not. Right, but they will tell you stories,
Yeah.
and they would give you adages from
Yeah, that's
this.
what's passed down from generation to generation.
Exactly, but an average youth right now is not going to go to the village. An average has not even has not gone to the village, before. Right, I remember I don't want to out myself, but I know how many times I've gone to the village myself. Right, so how are you now going to encourage history, in a way that it will be receptive, and we would want to, partake in this journey, and would want to use this tool for generations?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. I would say I don't have the answer, but I'll be able to get the answer if I keep doing the work I need to do. And then I'll say something else. Even if I don't have the answer, I can always ask my Father in heaven for it. I can always pray about it. There's something my pastor said recently, Pastor Bolaji Idowu from Avestas International Christian Center. We're doing a program, and he said that he had forecasted it was going to rain. And everyone was like, Pastor, let's shift it, or okay, so usually at church programs they usually overflow, so people have to sit down outside. Let's get canopies, let's make sure that rain doesn't. And it's like, no, it's not going to rain. And he said he went to go and pray, and he spoke to God, and basically what the conclusion from that was that it was not going to rain because rain is from God. I'm from God, like I'm a servant or I'm a child of God. Two servants on the same mission two servants on the same mission from the same master cannot fight each other. And that was powerful. And that kind of gave me an insight into the power we carry as children of God. Like, we have our angels, we have like the forces in the universe helping us to achieve things. So as I said, I might not be able to answer that question right now in a definitive manner, but if I don't have the answer, I can pray about it. I can read my Bible. I can find different ways to, actually come to the conclusion. Because even this idea for Yotay, it just started out as a random idea, but because I've been on a part of my journey, I've been able to like get different things. Even the plan for the brand in like next 15 years, I already have it. But now I need to like start working backwards to achieve it. So it's easier for me because I have help. There's God in me, there's God in heaven, there are the angels, there are forces that help us to achieve our destiny and stuff. So I'm not scared that I don't have all the answers. I think that's one thing that defeats a lot of people or stop them from taking action because they're like, I need to make sure this sorted. I know you don't need to do everything. You have to have faith. And I think I shared this with you off camera. Like, one scripture thing that keeps coming to me is that we walk by faith, not by sight. We walk by faith. You have to walk by faith. You're trying to build something, because you're trying to push out something into the world that has not existed before. So you have to like believe in it and take the necessary actions to achieve it, even though your reality or sight is saying that this thing is not possible, my bro.
I mean, I think there's been like a lot of backlash, profound thoughts, and I agree with you to a large extent. So before I get to this backlash, I was at a conference, and they asked Dr. Foy, how does he do all of the things that he does? And I mean, in everyone's journey, there is a divinity play at work. All right, you can't take it out whether you're conscious of it or not. right? If you're conscious of it, it's more to your advantage than if you're not. And yeah, and he said, do you guys want me to be honest? Honestly, I was shocked by his response, right?
What do you say?
Yeah, so he was like, oh, that even when he was working with MTV and all of these places, he would just like go pray in tongues and receive a download. I was like, this guy is saying this thing on stage. I was like, this guy is saying this thing on stage, like over 5K people, and you're just, but I mean, it just shows to tell the respect, for divinity, for God, and how a lot of direction also comes from there. So, I mean, I respect those thoughts greatly, and going forward, I think there's always just there's been a lot of like backlash, in recent times, around things like follow your passion, do what you love. There's been a lot of, backlash.
That's cracking me up.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the sentiment around it. When I was coming here today, I've been through quite, an ordeal coming here today. And as I was coming, I stumbled on this video by Steve Jobs. And he talked about the difference between people that quit and the people that did not quit. And the reason why the ones that did not quit could persevere and all of those things, it was very simple. They could only do that because they had love for what they were building. There was a passion for what the ones that did not have love for what they were doing, they were out the door, right? Because he says the road is very tough. You think the road is not tough till you become a founder. Looking from the outside, I remember when I knew that I would start, shooting sessions and all of these things, and I just said, oh, okay, you get chair, you get this, you get that.
Set up on camera.
And all is going to be well.
Yeah.
But you get into it and you now know that, oh, there is a cost of entry. And I mean, if you are to landmark it, what has been your own cost of entry?
Honestly, I think for me, all the things I've had to do have been worth it. I don't see it as a cost. Initially, when you were speaking about, what Steve Jobs said about love, love is a very powerful thing. I mean, we see it everywhere in the Bible. We hear people sing about it, people write books about it, all that.
Write music,
But a stronger force for me has been responsibility. And that's a topic for another day, but I feel responsible for the people that will come after us. That has been like the thing that has driven me. My brother, I would say that I don't really love like all the things I do, but I have to do them. Because if I don't, so will. You hear a lot of great people talk about this too as well. Like they might not, like also if you hear like a pastor saying that, oh, I might not necessarily like to like pray every time. Sometimes my flesh is not willing, like, but it's that responsibility of my brother. So that's kind of driven me. I don't have a choice. Like I always say this, but people don't really understand. I have to do these things unless like I'm the one that is going to sleep at night with my own body, my own mind. There are certain things I need to do. And yeah, that might be a hard way to live, but the vision was given so that the people that could do it would do it. If I was not worthy, it wouldn't have been given to me.
If we thought that you did not have the capacity, we wouldn't have bestowed this upon you.
Because my brother, do you know all the things I've had to go through just to stay on this path? This year, a couple months ago, when I finally started Yotay World, the media company, I was literally on zero in so many regards. And this is after like 10 years of a vision. This is after trying in different spheres, like with music, trying to make money, being an entrepreneur, network marketing, being a tech bro. Why did I still want to? Do you understand? It's because the person who gave the vision knew that this boy, if I give this boy his thing, he would, see it to his natural conclusions. You get. So I think for me, man, it's just that responsibility that I have to do this thing. And it's fine if other people don't have that sense of urgency or responsibility that, oh, okay, how can I make the world better? How can I make things better for my kids or grandkids? It's fine. I'm not them, I'm me. So I will do it. And I know that regardless of what life, brings at me, because life does try to pull you away from your destiny and your dreams and stuff. Like I will still stick to it because it's not about me. And I tell my team this, my team at Yotay World, at the company, that honestly, you guys think things about me. You see me and like, oh, Donald is the founder, and it's not about me. Right now, with what we're building at Yotay World, we're going to build systems for it to be sustainable and for it to like last lifetimes. But right now, we're not focused on money. I was having a conversation with someone and I was telling her that someone, just a new person I'd met, and I was telling her that, I started a company and stuff, but we're not making money. And she asked me, how are you not making money from your business? And she struck me that, most people think about businesses with like, oh, how can I survive? How can I see extra 200K a month? But, I'm seeing it like, how are we solving a problem? How are we like attacking something that needs to be attacked? Do you get? And that just made me realize that at the end of the day, like this thing is not really about me. Like, and anytime I tell my team that they don't really understand, but I understand, like it's really about what the impact we're trying to make and things we're trying to do. So yeah, that's it for me.
I mean, when I think about it, you can't run, you can't go far. Like you can't push it so far, like, and wish that it outlives you. Transgenerational impact, if you are like a self-centered person, it's going to be very hard. You will tap out at some point. Right. And I think the burden of responsibility has really been dawning on quite a number of us. Right. I just really hope that I'm paying attention, you are paying attention, and every other person is really paying attention to those things. Because over time, like you said earlier, if those nudgings keep coming, the time is going to come where they are going to lift. Right? And to be looking for the next soul. The next soul might be another 15 years, might be another 20 years. Time would have been lost, but you'll be looking for the next soul that will be able to bear the weight of the responsibility. I fear that with the way we are so drawn to, a picture perfect life, it's not one that we, on a mass base, right, have taken into account that we have these responsibilities and we must pay attention to them and we must water them and we must pay the price, because everything has a price.
Yeah.
All right. If you say you want to do something for a generation, you're going to pay a generational price.
Wow, that's deep. Oof. That's bad.
Yeah.
And honestly, this thing you said just got me thinking about all the dead men that will still enjoy their inventions and ideas. Whether it's like the airplanes, the Wright brothers, whether it's like the railways, whether it was like all these titans of industry from America and the rest of the world that did things, Yes, okay, they made money, yes, they were successful, but we are still enjoying it. So this thing you spoke about responsibility, like you do need to pay the price so that, you can add to the fabric of time and other people can enjoy what, you put your blood, sweat, and tears to achieve. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the consciousness of being a historian brings you in contact with like a lot of human experiences. That's been the most profound ones you've experienced along the journey. You say, oh, you saw this and it really intrigued you. This really spoke to you. It taught you something you had never seen in that light.
I think that deep down, everybody knows that their life can be better. I think that's one of the biggest things I've realized. Everybody actually knows. Whether it's the beggar on the street that looks like he has given up, or that guy in your area that just always on cruise, always island. My brother, everybody knows that the life can be better. But to do the work to make it achievable, it's just a different ball game. And then to add on to that, people start lying to themselves.
Mm.
Okay, maybe I can't just make it this my lifetime. Maybe in my next lifetime. Or maybe I just need to find someone that, maybe I just need to find someone that will just help me go through life and I'll just be comfortable with them and stuff. Like, honestly, everybody knows.
So people sell their dreams for comfortability.
Yeah, that's it really. Like, everybody knows that their life can be better, but then they start lying to themselves on why maybe they can't just achieve it and they just let like life play out like that, you know. And all these things that we say, it's easier to live life like that and actually try to fight when like all the forces are making it seem like, oh, it's not possible. So I think that's one thing I've learned just talking to people and just observing and experiencing people. Like, everybody knows that they can actually be superstars. They can actually, make something out of their life, but they just find ways to say, okay, I guess I'll just settle.
I mean, why do you think these forces like compete to deter you from the path, truncate what you have?
Well, I want to be very careful about what I want to say. Well, let me put it like this. Life rewards people who really want things. Most of the time, life won't make it easy for you to achieve what you want to achieve. And yes, you hear things like the universe conspires to help you. When you start chasing something, it's to work out. But life has to test you. And I'm not trying to be spiritual or biblical or anything, but my brother, life has to test you before it gives you that thing you want. It's like this guy said he will achieve this thing, then his mother died, and then his company went bust, and then he went to jail. And I'm not saying everything has to come at once, but I'm just saying life has to test you that even after everything, after I finish shaking you, you still want this thing, you're mad. Let me give it to you. Simple. I feel like a lot of people just think that, maybe hard work will cut it off. But my brother, doggedness and perseverance and persistence and stick-to-itiveness is one of the things you need to achieve anything. And life won't just hand it to anybody. You have to really be able to stay at it. Because, whether you believe in God or not, let's just imagine that this guy in the sky or the universe or whatever you want to call it, or this force, this global force, this Jet girl, this Donald girl, this Amaka girl, or this BC girl said that they would do this thing. 5 years, nothing happened. 10 years, nothing happened. They started and then, bam, this one happened and that one happened. And they still want it. Why do you still want it? I will still keep going at you, and then that one, and you still stick to it. And then it's like, okay, I guess you really want this to take. And then at the time when it happens, people are like, this person's an overnight success. Where did they come from? But you don't know how long they've been chasing, this stuff. Just when the conference we had gone for in September that we planned, when Eric shared that I had been doing content creation for, and sorry, Eric, what is
Kwawa.
Yeah, the name. Yeah, I don't like to murder it. You love your content, bro. When he shared he had been doing, content creation for about 11 years. Who can fathom that? That's 11 years he will never get back. And now he's enjoying the fruits of his labor. And I'm sure he still has bigger plans, but because he stuck to it. So life has a way of testing someone before it gives you what you want. And of course, people can do shortcuts, cut corners, do make one or two deals, get it. But the people that actually do have long-term impact and this thing lasts, they actually have to go through the fire to come out as a phoenix.
We're having this conversation way back with the founder of is a circular economy entrepreneur, and he was Joshua, that's his name, and he was talking about how people say, oh, you're mad or you're this, but it's just that by the time they get to realize it, it's already too late. They realize it when it's too late, and then I'll say, oh, he really wasn't actually mad, we just didn't see what he saw. So most of the time you say, oh, that guy is mad or something, that guy is insane. It's just a case of you're not seeing it, right?
But they are seeing it,
and by the time you now get to the realization that, oh, this is what it is, that find something new to do, bro. That's not the time for you to start saying you want to go into AI. They have already done everything they wanted to do. You are late. Using that as an example, there seems to be a knowledge crisis. What I mean by this is that a lot of people are talking, right? A lot of people are talking, but it's just a case of they are talking, but what are they really saying? Right? Why the knowledge gap? Why the misplaced priorities? Because I fear that with archiving journeys and with things like what you're doing at Yotay, and I could be wrong, but I just fear that there is a situation where people want to get the billionaire counselor, like like Emmanuel, or they want to get this person that is doing this thing. But what of the misplaced priorities? And these are not things that we should also document. Like, oh, instead of investing in this thing I was passionate about, I used 1 million naira to buy a wig. Just using that as a loose example, right? Or I used this to do this instead of what I had this yearning for. Like, where are we also going to document this foolishness? That is ravaging us also. I mean, is that something that we are making room for, or we are just going to let it slide?
I think it's a very interesting question. I think everything matters. I have a very interesting way I process information or content. When I'm reading a book, I'm seeing something, I'm thinking of like how all these things that seemed seemingly not important, someone decided to make it important and then put it into a book. So, like you said, those misplaced priorities and these things that seem like foolish decisions and stuff, they're important. One day, something will be published, whether it's a documentary on Netflix or whether it's a book or whether it's whatever it is that would, talk about this type of things. And you have to just be able to capture everything and then let people do what they want with that information. So I do believe that it's very important to capture all these different things, whether they seem stupid, silly, smart, intelligent, impactful or not impactful. Just capture everything.
Everything
What the
matters.
future will do with it.
Everything matters. It's very, very important. I like that. We are on the same page with that. Because even with having to get people on the pod, everybody wants to. I'm telling you that even the journeys that don't look, oh, do this for 10 years, he was a drunk and this is what his experience is, this is what his journey is. It has a way of also educating people on both what they want to be and what they don't want to be. All right. So it's very, very important that everything is looked into, and if we go to a library, the library is not, we're not going to this library and we're saying, oh, the books that are here are only on animals. No, you have the human biology, you have finances, you have economics, every single thing. You now pick and say, oh, I want to learn this, I want to know this, I want to x-ray this. And even when I now go, because the way the journey of life is, it makes you touch every part. And I say, oh, even this part that I not think I needed, now I need this part. Is there any information, or is there anything is there any history
You can't draw from.
is there any archive where I can pull from? I think it's very, very important.
Very important, yes.
I mean, what are we doing with, I think about it with our generation and the increasing weight of software technologies, and listening to pods, watching videos and all of these things. It's really going to be hard. Mind you, I do read, right? So this is not for me. I just have to put that out there. But maybe I don't read as much as I would desire to read, though, right? So let me put it there too. But I'm really, really curious as to how these people would absorb this information. So is it like a digitalized archive, or we still have to go back to the library, or like, what are we going to do that is going to be adoptable across generations?
Okay, I would say that the old media we've had in terms of like books or even newer medias like podcasts and all the different streaming services, let's be able to give people options. So if someone that likes to read books, they'll read a book on this stuff. If they read a podcast, whether audio or video, they would. When newer technologies come out, maybe it's like AR, VR, you can literally experience like that period in 2015 when NSAS happened. Sorry, when the NSAS happened, I can't remember, but like that period, the year it happened, like you can picture like all these things. Let's give them options. Let's not limit what they can do with it, because the same like pen and paper they've been writing on for years is still what we're enjoying. Even
Fact.
though now it's printed and digitized and stuff,
Fact.
but like, so I think that there's room for like both old and new media and present media, you know.
Everything is being factored in for, whichever generation those generations
Yes,
desire
exactly.
to adapt.
Exactly.
Fair enough. I mean, you said you've really been lucky, along the journey. So like, what personal securities have you had in place? That you say, oh, this was what made you feel lucky at the time. I mean, I think your parents are doing like a very great work, of giving you the room.
Yes.
Nonetheless.
My parents allow me to dream. That's very true. I have to give them credit for that.
Yeah.
Because they might have well said that. Nah, bro, this thing I trying to do.
The wine in this Nigeria. How many parents?
How much is better your education? No, do you get? So I think that if I talk about luck,
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I discovered my purpose at a young age. And you can take that however you want to take that, but I'm just lucky that I discovered it at a young age. I'm lucky that my family upbringing, my siblings, my parents, they were able to like hold me and support me and stuff. I'm lucky to be born in this generation. We're lucky to be born in this generation. A lot of things are happening, and honestly, like with the internet, with like everything that's happening, we're actually blessed. I started my company with nothing, Yotay World. That won't have been able to happen in that generation because we can have distributed teams around the world, just internet and laptop. Like, connect to this person, I have Zoom meetings, I have Google Meet calls, and we are lucky to be even born in this.
It reduces the cost of a lot of things that initially would have factored into deployment of these visions.
Then last year, if we're talking about luck, I think one of the biggest luck factors in my life is my spirit. In the sense of I have the spirit of someone that doesn't quit. I've seen this play out, not a lot of people have that.
So do you think that this spirit that you have, like, where did you get it from? Is it something you were born with? Is it something, what's that about?
Okay, I think that if you believe you have something, you have it. I believe that I have the spirit of someone that doesn't give up, so I won't give up. That's it. Belief is a very strong force, I think we all know that. So just because I believe that Yotay can be achieved, I'll do it. Just because I believe that, okay, let's say a father believes that he can make $10 million for his family, he'll work towards it and make it. So because I believe in the things I believe, it works for me. I was thinking about this thing recently, whether you believe in something. Okay, let's use Mr. A and Mr. B. Mr. A believes that let's say watches are real. Mr. B doesn't believe that watches are real. Watches are real, of course. Mr. B believes it, so it works for him. Mr. A believes it, so it works for him. The Mr. B that doesn't believe watches are real. Watches are real, but it won't work for him because he will not even adhere to the concept or even wear a watch. So belief is very powerful. Someone can say they believe in God or don't believe in God. Someone can say that they believe in nepotism, they don't believe in nepotism. Like, what you believe in works for you. If you don't believe that, so for instance, let's use the Wright brothers. Wright brothers believe that you could create a machine made of steel and wood and all these gadgets and it could fly in the sky. Other people said, no, it's not possible. What they believed in works because, what the naysayers believed in worked because they didn't even attempt it and it didn't work. Wright brothers believed that a plane could actually fly, like you could actually create a machine like a bird that will fly in the sky, and it worked for them. So because I believe in my spirit of not giving up, then it works for me. Other people that don't believe in that, it can't work for them. It's a force, it's like a law. Yeah.
I mean, when you said it, I couldn't help but think of myself, and I just keep on going back, and I'm like, man, it's very true. If you believe that it's possible, it is. If you believe that it's impossible, that's also very, very valid. And I believe with all my heart that I am so strong-willed that if I want to do it against all odds, against the data, I mean, I will do it. We're having this conversation earlier on how important data is But I think I was having these thoughts like data over thoughts, over guts rather. Like, when do you know? I mean, he did give a feedback. He's a scientist and all of these things. He did give a feedback. But I'm really curious, like, especially with the data that, this has not been done. Right, over guts, like, where do you place it for you? And you say, follow your gut, or this is the data. Because when we are also talking about these things like, you believe that it cannot be done or it's possible, and something like, these philosophers, these motivational speakers, until they flog one motivational speaker, go. That kind of thing. But where do you now look at the data and be like, nah, I need to follow my gut on this? There's no data, or there is sufficient data, but I don't still agree with it. Like, where is it just sheer stubbornness at this point? Or where is it?
So thank you for that question. I would say try and error. And Jet, I'll go back to the thing of being shameless. Don't be afraid to look like a fool. Don't be afraid to look like a mumu, like, more. I wanted to try this thing and it didn't work out. Okay, it's fine, we move. All the successful that we look up to and stuff, they always tell you, even as they become super successful, as they become superstars or billionaires or whatever, they will still tell you, some deals that they did not work out. But those people are like strong-willed enough to say that, okay, even though I have a track record of success, a track record of doing things, but this didn't work out. Like, let's use an example of, let's say, like Steve Jobs, that like built Apple. By the time he was 20 something, his life was like so cool and everything in terms of success.
Yeah.
But then he left Apple, started Next for a few years, total failure. He came back to Apple and made it into the company. It is $1 trillion and stuff in valuations. Like, he could have said that, because I've succeeded, everything I do has to be a success. But it's that idea of try and error. Now, to answer your question, whether you want to focus on data or you want to focus on gut feeling instincts, it's still try and error, and not being afraid to look stupid or look silly, even to your investors or to your friends or to your family or to your church or to the institutions you subscribe to. You just need to be able to not be afraid of looking foolish, because nobody has it figured out.
I mean, when I think about this, I just look and I'm like, if we go down this path, how far do we want to go? When do we know when to stop? Right.
Do you mean moving on instinct?
Yeah. Beat data, beat instinct, and we are failing. Right.
Yeah.
When do I know, okay, I need to pivot? When? Because I mean, you've done this thing with music, you've done this like across boards. Like, when do I know? I mean, you have a decade of experience, more than I do. I'm really curious. When do I now know that? Now, I think this is the time for me to fail forward and move, pivot in another direction. Like, how do we know?
Well, I'll say that one easy way is your spirit. Sometimes your spirit will just tell you. And no, I don't mean the Holy Spirit. I don't mean like in a biblical or Christian.
Yeah.
Your spirit, not like you don't need to, have this crazy belief or a religious be like your spirit will tell you. Like, you just know, okay, or this day I don't try you. I try that thing. I think that's it for me in the simplest sense. Yeah.
I mean, I think another thing that I also struggle with is the fact that I fear that, actually, when people have like contrarian views on things and it now works, right? How do you keep yourself in check? That, because what that means is that every other person that was saying that it was not going to be possible were foolish in regards to that thing. There was a form of wisdom that they were deficient in, and you were able to go against the tide and you did it. But how do you now keep yourself in check that tomorrow you're not now doing everything in that cycle of okay, anytime someone tells me or people tell me that this is what it is, I am not agreeing with them. Like, what's the balance? Have you been able to balance that?
Okay. Yeah, sure. As a Christian, I would just say, like, use, whether it's like reading your Bible, whether it's like praying and stuff, like,
You want to judge all things.
It kind of makes it easier, honestly. Like whether you are deciding to move with data, deciding to move with insight, deciding that oh this thing has been failing, whether should I go, should I know when to quit and stuff. Honestly, sometimes you can just be reading scripture or praying or like just quiet time with God and then something drops in your spirit. It's kind of easier. And I would say this for a long time in my life, I wasn't really taking my faith seriously. And this is crazy because the things I'm trying to build, I'm like they've not come into existence before. So you would think I'm a man of faith, like, but for some reason, I'm just like this random guy from Nigeria can do this thing. What I'm trying to do with Yotay, I would call it, or if I had to phrase it, I would say raising the consciousness of an entire generation. I'm trying to raise the consciousness of an entire generation, and I'm just thinking, me by myself, I can't do it. But then, along the journey, I realized that, oh, you actually do need God. Like, this thing you're trying to do is not sensible to a man.
So you need to like partner with some spirits. Yeah, you have to partner with the spirit and be like, man, if I'm going to build this thing, then I rather partner with people that it makes sense to.
Exactly. That's just really it, honestly. Just like leaning into your faith. And honestly, I'll just use myself as a case study. Leaning into my faith has kind of made it easier for me to like walk this road because I was just trying to do things by myself for so long that I realized that I do need, for this type, the scale of the dream I'm trying to achieve, I do need God and I do need other people. And that's why I started the company, Yotay World, with people I'm working with. So I'm making sure that I'm getting direction and then I'm also working with people to build this thing because one boy cannot just change the entire consciousness of the continent without help. So I do need that help. So that was like something that I kind of leaned more into this year, just being able to get help from places I needed help from. Because growing up, I thought that if you wanted to achieve something, all you needed was hard work and just the mind to do it. That's a lie. That's a lie. Hard work is not enough. Dedication is not enough. Passion is not enough. Talent is not enough. You need help.
You need to partner with spirits. You need external forces.
You need help. You need other people. You need whatever help. You need help. I think out of all the things like passion, hard work, doggedness, help is enough. Like help is you extending, yourself to other people and other things to, bring something into existence. So I think, and I will say this, for a dream to be achieved, you definitely need help. You can't just do it by yourself. And that's something that I'm learning in this.
Even in the real world, like, okay, like spirits one side, you need like human beings.
Yes, you need help from people. Yeah.
I mean, how was the experience when you found out that you were not self-sufficient? Because I mean, very strong, very dogged. I'm going on in like when you found I'm not self-sufficient. Like, how did that feel to you first?
Okay.
Then what did you now do?
Okay. So I think that for me, when 2025 came, I realized that I had this idea for 10 years. And in those 10 years, I tried my best to bring it to life. So I told myself that this year will not end without things getting better. So basically, I decided two things: that I need the help of the Holy Spirit, like I need God, and I need other people to build with. So I decided to make a call for people to join the vision, and that's how I was able to start the company and start working with the people that I'm building with.
When the story of this time is told, what do you want your chapter to say?
My life?
Yes.
Oh, just no one has asked me that ever. I think I'd want my story to be, if there was like this major lesson, is that the power of belief. Because for a long time in my life, my reality was saying it's not possible, it's not possible, it's not possible. So when I achieve the things I know I'm going to achieve, it's just like, man, this boy believed though. So if you can do it, other people can do it too. Whether you are a little girl from Kenya, a boy from Nairobi, a teenager from SA, from South Africa, or someone from Egypt or other, parts of the world, like it's possible. There's like a motto I live by. I always say that being a dreamer is a universal concept, not a geographical one. It almost seems like you can't dream in Africa, you can't dream in Nigeria, but you can actually dream anywhere. If you carry a dreamer from Nigeria and take him to US, it's still a dreamer. Carry a dreamer from Saudi Arabia and bring him to, maybe, let's say Egypt or somewhere else, it's still a dreamer. And people need to realize that being a dreamer is not dependent on your environment, it's dependent on your mindset. So that's just something that I want my story to tell, that it's possible to be a dreamer wherever you come from, and it's possible to believe in something and actually achieve it.
Yeah, I mean, I think to add to that, like one of the things that I would really want us to pay attention to in our generation is that we can't like pour from an empty cup. All right, and if we want to give, we have to give from somewhere. All right, we have to give from somewhere, and I see like a lot of times, like this will sound somehow, but I see a lot of times, like there's a lot of pouring, but like there's nothing there. What brought that to my attention was when you talked about like the mind and being a dreamer, and for you to be able to see accurately, there must be like a body of knowledge, right? So I mean, just to be inquisitive, what's like the body of knowledge that ran you? Like, is it that, oh, you were just like, there must have been something, there is a foundation to this thing, and I'm just really really curious.
Okay. So I think the body of knowledge has informed the way I live my life and the audacity I have to operate in the world. So as I said, when I was younger, I decided that I'm going to learn the things that actually work for me. So along the way of like reading books and like just searching for knowledge, I discovered a lot of falsehoods that didn't work for me, and I discovered a lot of truth. So I had to go through a lot of like messy stuff till I found the things that work for me. And that's just me at every point in my life.
So what do you mean messy stuff?
Things that don't work for me. And you have to be humble enough to say, oh, this thing did not work for me. Sure, we move. You get. So the work I have done, even as I said, I've had this dream for 10 years. I've been learning way longer than that. I mean, outside of a school context. Like when I was in secondary school, I was reading on like philosophies and like just very deep stuff. So honestly, my mind was not even on the frequency of most people. Like I've just always been searching for, those things that could make me a better person, a better man. And in recent times, I think a better child of God as well, because I've started to. So I chased like worldly knowledge, as crazy as this sounds, for so long, but I've never taken time to actually just like fellowship with God, read my Bible and stuff like that. So in this new phase of my life, I've really been enjoying like the donor that
fellowship
believes, basically that believes in something bigger than himself, or believes in something bigger than the dream of Yotay, but like believes, in Christian values and all that. So yeah, so all those learnings over the years informed the person I am, and then in recent times, just my work as a Christian has informed the decisions I take. And honestly, religion or Christianity is a lot about faith. And me, like I'm very big on faith and doing things that is not even possible. So it has even helped me to even be bolder, because maybe you're going through something and then you see a scripture or you hear a sermon and it just charges you, or you talk to your friend as a believer and it just ginger you, So that has really been helping me.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, I have a lot on my mind, but time is a burden. I'm just curious, before we round it up, like what the impact of community has done to this consciousness. Whether it's from the family standpoint, the family unit, to Christian values, to be it like building with other young adults. Like how does like community like come in play?
Man, community makes things easier, honestly. Like no man is an island. I know we hear that a lot, but really no man is an island. And
you think it's pride that make people like islands, or it's like just every other thing?
My brother, there are a lot of factors. So I mean, I don't really want to go into that, but just the community of like my family, my friends, actual communities I'm in, or just the community of believers, I just made it easier because you're able to do life with people, So even when things are not good or things are so dark, like just knowing that you have a brother, you have a sister, you have a friend, just helps things get better. And one interesting thing, when you see something good playing out in your loved one's life, it kind of gives you hope that this thing is possible. So let's say, you're a group of like 3 girls, nobody has been married, you guys are like 35, someone gets married, you're like, it's possible for me to, so that's just really it. Like just even having these people around you that things are happening for, it makes you believe that it's possible too.
Fair enough. I mean, I agree with you that community is, it's very, 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 very important. I went through, I won't even call that a heartbreak, right? But I just went through a phase, it was almost time, for fellowship, and I was just like, guys, this what, and the next day, like, people trooped into my house and started saying, oh, they've, they are coming to console. I don't need consoling, no, make no mistake.
LOL.
Yeah, but I felt loved. I think that's the bottom line, and it just gives you the strength to carry on. If you don't need strength and strength is added to you, it's even better than if you needed strength. And I mean, both has their importance and has their place. But if you just have like an extra layer of strength with where you're going, what you're doing, it's just like an added advantage. So why miss out on the added advantage?
Yeah.
And say, oh, you want to do this life alone, or you want to be a sadist and all of that. All right. I mean, I really appreciate us having this conversation. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
We've had this in several dimensions, but we finally have it on the pod.
Yeah.
And it's a privilege to archive the journey of a historian. We've not had many historians like you come our path, and with what you're doing, we are rooting for you. And I mean, is there anything that you think that we should be looking forward to, like in the coming weeks, months?
Nah, man, I think people should just look forward to believing in themselves more. Nothing you need to look forward to from me, man. Just believe in yourself.
I mean, if there's one lesson you want us to leave today with, I mean, the lesson I've left with is that you have to just be a big believer. Before anyone can place value on the things that you are doing, you have to place value on those things. All right. But if there's any lesson that the trajectory of your life and the exposure, what would be that lesson that you want a young adolescent that is listening to this to imbibe?
Okay, thank you so much for asking. I think you don't need to have all the answers figured out, man. Just do what you can. There's never going to be a perfect time. That's it.
Thank you.